Welcome to another episode of Memorable Moments in Topeka History. I'm your host, Harold Gingrich. It was 7:42 on Friday morning, October 10, 1958. Wabash Railroad's westbound number 58, with 2 locomotives and 83 cars, was 2 miles west of Topeka, doing about 47 miles per hour. Engineer Wild Bill Ferguson was at the throttle as the freight train approached the State Road 5 crossing. It's not exactly clear what happened, but 36-year-old Roy Brenneman of Liberty Center, Indiana, died instantly when his truck slammed into the westbound freighter and burst into flames. He was carrying a load of glass jars and left no skid marks on the highway. His view was unobstructed. We can only conclude that he never saw or he never heard the train. In his defense, unlike today's modern railroad crossings, there were no flashing lights, no cross arms to come down to warn motorists of an approaching train. The only warning sign was the traditional railroad crossbuck. There are many people still living in the area, including myself, who have vivid memories of walking the scene of that accident. Unlike today, I remember walking around right up to the wreckage with my parents. You could literally just reach out and touch those locomotives that were laying on their side. Today, people would never be allowed to even get close to the crash scene. But in 1958, there were no such restrictions. People were just milling around while the line crew, with their cranes, was working to clear the tracks. One of the first persons on scene was Auburn Red Haggard, a 1948 graduate of Topeka High School. Red was the town marshal and a real railroad enthusiast. Fortunately for us, Red had the presence of mind to grab his camera before heading out to the wreck. Red's photographs are now priceless historic records of that accident, and they were actually submitted into evidence in the court case that followed a few months later. We're also fortunate to have a copy of 8mm home movies of the wreckage that were taken by Perry Lambright, a Mennonite dairy farmer who lived close to the railroad crossing. The color footage was digitally restored by his nephew, Glen Eash, who added some personal notes and a song by Peter, Paul, and Mary. Take a look at this remarkable footage and notice all the people that are just milling around even as the cleanup work is going on.
Freight train going so fast. Freight train going so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on, so they won't know where I've gone. Freight train coming round the bend. Freight train gone again. One of these days turn that train around, go back to my hometown. Freight train going so fast. Freight train going so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on, so they won't know where I've gone.
One more place I'd like to be, one more place I'd love to see, to watch those old Blue Ridge mountains climb when I ride old number 9.
Freight train going so fast. Freight train going so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on, so they won't know where I've gone. When I die, please bury me deep down at the end of Bleecker Street, so I can hear old number 9 as she goes rolling on by. Freight train going so fast. Freight train going so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on, so they won't know where I've gone.
Stories are still being told by people who remember going out to the scene of the wreck. One of the great stories involves two high school students from Topeka High School who decided to fill their pockets with candy bars from one of the ruptured freight cars. Unfortunately for them, they were spotted by the railroad detective, who in no uncertain terms said, "Put those back." Which, of course, they did. Well, sort of. Because later, as the two teenage guys were going back to their cars after walking around the wreckage, one of the guys reached into his pocket, pulled out a couple of candy bars, and said, "Here, he didn't get these." Victor Baird, in his great book, Railroading on the 4th District, says that the damages at that crash were over $1 million. Keep in mind, that was in 1958 dollars. Imagine how much money we would be talking about today. But you know, train cars, damaged tracks can all be replaced and repaired. We understand that the greatest loss that day was the loss of the life of Roy Brenneman. Not only did he lose his life that day, he left behind a wife, an infant child, and 4 stepchildren. Yet for those of us who were living here in October of 1958, we will never forget going out to see the carnage and walking up to those mangled freight cars and the capsized locomotives. It was certainly a memorable moment in Topeka history. Please join us again next time when we take another look at a memorable moment in Topeka history.